Okay, and we are off. Happy Tuesday, everybody. None of you can probably hear me right now. I'm going to do my attempt to unmute everyone. And as I start hearing noises, I'm going to mute you back. Yep, noises, so that's not going to work out. So for those of you joining us, thanks for jumping on here. We have some I'm excited about the panelists we've got, and a couple of them will be logging in right now. So we have 3 different panelists who you're going to meet. I'm seeing some new names on here for the first time, so welcome. I trust you'll find value in it. We do this every Tuesday night from 6 to 7. The content and curriculum is based on what you guys want. So a couple weeks back, somebody asked for a scripting overcome objection webinar, and here we are. The material that is created here is created by me, usually on Tuesday afternoon, based on what I've learned and what I've experienced and talking to other agents and what they've done. So I won't say it's proprietary yet. You won't find this anywhere else. And with that being said, this is not the golden rule. It's just, I guess you could say, my rule of how we're going to do things. And take what you want out of it, and hopefully you can build upon it and improve in your business. That being said, we are going to move right forward. If you guys do have a question or a comment throughout the process and you're muted, you can unmute yourself by tucking that green microphone in the top left. Or if you want to raise your hand or type in a question, I'll see everything that you type in. So make sure they all get answered. For the sake of not having a lot of busy noise in the phone, I'm going to keep everyone muted for the most part, with the exception of the panelists. So I believe, Joey, you're on the phone right now?
Yes, sir.
And Craig, are you on the phone? So Craig's working to get on right now. And we also have one more panelist. What's that?
Hey, Rick, is there a way, I know you mentioned the way to unmute if they had a question via the computer. Is there a way for them to unmute themselves if they called in through the phone?
I believe, and this is just my other experience with webinars as an attendee, if you push *6, you can mute yourself and unmute yourself. So if you're only through the phone, you want to push *6, that should work as well. Okay, so we're going to wait for the stats to come on. We're going to do some live objection handling, so I want you guys to think of some questions and objections you want to get answered, see how they overcome it, and then that's it. So hey, Craig, so here's Craig, and then we're going to still wait for Colton to jump on.
Okay.
You're welcome. I'm glad that helps you. Okay, I'm going to mute you, Craig, now. Hush, no, I'm just kidding. Okay, we are going to move forward. As always, we have some ground rules. We're starting right sharply at 6 o'clock. My goal is to have us done by 7 o'clock and sometimes a little bit sooner. And if it's a really good webinar, we might go a little bit past 7 o'clock. However, it'll be from 6 to 7. Vegas rules says be vulnerable, be open, ask questions. Don't be afraid to be laughed at, because the only silly question is the one I don't have the answer to. So go ahead and just be vulnerable, ask questions, make this learning experience. Vegas rules means what happens on here stays on here. Engage with everyone. This webinar is going to be created in better content when you engage and ask questions to have dialogue. The whole purpose of this is for you, so whatever questions you have, engage. Again, mute yourself. We've already talked about that. Be prepared every week to implement what you've learned, because if you learn everything and never do anything about it, then it's a waste of time. So implement what you're going to do, take good notes, and promise yourself and your family that you'll do something about it. So today's scripts, it's going to be a lot of interaction. Kind of excited for it today because it won't be a lot of my talking. So we had a great time last time. We're going to talk about 2 different things, the difference between scripting, the difference of language of sales. They're 2 different things, and they're kind of thrown them together. We're going to talk about some tips when you do prospect of what you can do with your language of sales or different scripts. We're going to meet the panelists, kind of get their history, their background, and learn what they do. And then we're going to have some live role play overcoming objections with the 3 panelists and see how they overcome it and see how they close and convert appointments. That being said, scripting versus language of sales, 2 very different things yet pretty similar. Language of sales are actually a MAPS curriculum course. There's 17 habits in the way we speak. So language of sales is not so much a script that you're going to read and interpret and memorize, which is the next thing. It's more of using languages, tie-downs, using words like embedded commands, just the way that you can speak differently to different clients, which helps them stay motivated. Talking about a problem presentation, that's the language of sales. So I'm going to hopefully let this video play through with audio and let you guys take a look at what it really is here with Miss Diana Kokoska. So here we go. Oh, I lost it. Come on back, Diana. Here we go.
Maybe you were in a listing appointment You go, oh, if I just had the words, if I could overcome this objection, well, you would get the listing. And then there's times where everything you say just comes out so great. It's fabulous. I mean, you do everything perfectly. And, of course, you leave with the listing. But as you're driving home, all of a sudden you go, oh, my gosh, how did I do that? Could I do it again? Well, you know, the language of sales will help teach you the words that actually move people forward. Now, here's what they did. They took electrodes and they put them on the brain, and then they said different words, and they saw which part of the brain actually lit up. You know that your brain has electrodes in it and electricity, right? I mean, after all, neurons firing back and forth, and the electricity is all over in your brain. Just to sign your name is about 10,000 kilowatts of power, just so you know. Now, here's the fun part. When all this is happening, they found that certain words literally lit up the activation center of the brain and allowed people to make decisions faster. Presuppositions were some of those words, and frankly, I mean, or instinctively, almost magically, without even thinking, you already know. Well, I just told you some of those presuppositions. Now, there's adverb presuppositions. There are so many different language patterns that you learn. There are automatic presuppositions. And I want you to think about something. How do you know these things? Well, I want to teach you one language pattern today. One is what specifically. Now, you say a language pattern, you're going to get an objection. What specifically makes you say that? What specifically makes you think your home is worth $299,000 when the market is showing $249,000? They say something and you always approve and you say, I can understand that. So what specifically makes you feel that way? Or what specifically are you looking for? Now, you say, well, that's one pattern. That really works? It really works. Because now, instead of you being on the defense, they're on the defense. And the best defense is a great offense. You already know that. So just use that one technique. What specifically makes you feel that way, say that, or think that, okay? And see how that works for you on the objections. Meantime, come learn the 17 language patterns at the Language of Sales. I'm Diana Kokoska, the president of MAPS, and myself or Joel Rico will be teaching you all those language patterns.
Okay, so hopefully you guys heard that through there. I don't know how that works. I wanted to share that because it truly is a language of sales, and you learned a lot of that through both what we just took. It talks about what specifically puts them on the defense. And what stands out with that is she's asking questions. And when you can force somebody to answer your questions, you're in control. So we're going to move forward with some tips. Oh, hold on, let's see. I'm seeing some chatting on here. I'm good. Okay, so never mind. We're going to go through some tips. These are tips that I've gathered through my own personal experience through different courses. When you guys are prospecting, when you're going for cold calling, whether you're calling your sphere of influence, I want you to keep these things in mind. Be prepared. When you guys start your phone call, know who you're going to call with a list of people. Know what your intentions are going to be. And I'm guilty of this as anybody else. You start your day. You're ready to lead generate. You're ready to get started. And you sit there for 20 or 30 minutes and you figure out who you're going to call. So be prepared perhaps the night before. Or if you lead generate from 9 to 11, come in at 8:30 and figure out who it's going to be. It's going to make your lead generation time that much more focused. 5 no's are going to equal a yes. So keep that in mind that when people say no to you the first time, it's typically going to be a reflex. They're going to say no because they're supposed to say no, because you are a salesman. They don't want to say yes to sales in the first try. The analogy that I've heard and I use is when you guys go into a department store and you go shopping. You go in there for a pair of shoes. As soon as you walk in the door, a salesman comes and says, can I help you? And most of us say, no, I'm good. I'm just looking. But really we're not. We're going for a pair of shoes. But instinctively we said no. And then you're in the shoe section. Someone else comes up and says, how can I help you with? You look at these shoes. And you don't want to waste their time because you're not committed to buying the shoe yet. And you're going to say no out of not wasting their time. No, I'm good. I'm just browsing. And then you're going to go again. You're going to go again until really you need a size 9 and not an 8.5 or not an 11. Now you need help. if people don't continue to ask you, you're not saying no. Do that same thing, because people are going to say no to you out of instinct, out of fear of wasting their time, out of fear of wasting your time, and not until you get to the true objection will you get to the fourth or fifth. So that's 5 no's equal yes. If at any point you guys want some clarification, or if you want to challenge any of this, I welcome it. And any staff, if you guys want to chime in or challenge or agree or anything else, then feel free to do that as well. Next one is 5 seconds to create curiosity. If you're calling people and you spend the first 5 or 10 seconds just giving your resume over the phone and you don't have any probing question to create curiosity, you're going to lose them. It's similar to when I was doing the video a couple weeks ago, that you have to grab people's attention. So when you make a phone call, you have 5 seconds. What's the point? What's the intention of your phone call? What's the question that's going to make them stay on the line and get engaged with you? So keep that in mind. Of your scripts when you're opening dialogue in the first 5 seconds, do not create a curiosity question. You're likely going to lose them. Ask questions to drive that conversation. So we talked about this with what specifically do you mean by that? Whoever's asking the questions is on the offense. And if you're constantly answering questions, you're going to be on the defense. When somebody comes back and asks you, well, what's your commission? Well, what do you do for marketing? Well, how long have you been in the market for? You have to learn to answer it and come right back with another question. So get used to asking questions. And if you have a conversation that doesn't go your way, really go back and ask who asked those most questions. And that's a good way to practice and role play with people, is just constantly go back and questions before. Joey's very good at this and sometimes has fun with it. If you feel you need to make a statement can be made into a question with a tie-down. Does that make sense? That's an example of it. Does that make sense as a tie-down? Do you agree? Would you be offended if? These are all things that you can say, well, actually, it's a seller's market because they have less than 3.5 months inventory. Does that surprise you? What did I do? I left a statement and then gave it right back to them with a question. So as you're leading and driving the conversation, come into those questions. Come from contribution. So many times people are calling and they go for that home run listing for perhaps a for sale by owner, perhaps an expired. Truly come from contribution. The reason that we all got into business is to help people because we have a passion for real estate. We have a passion for helping families achieve their goals. Of course, we want to make some money in the process. Yet it's very evident if you come off as salesman without building rapport, without showing value, without building trust, then you go for the close. So come from contribution. Always do what's right. Have the fiduciary responsibility. And with that, you're going to receive the benefits from it. So always remember to come from contribution. Know what your closes are. So perhaps door knocking, you're going to have your scripts. And so often people go with the intention of going to list a house. Well, perhaps a close is getting a phone number. Perhaps a close is getting an email address. Permission to make a phone call. Permission for an appointment. So know what your closes are. It's okay for to swing for the fences. And if you don't hit a home run, be okay with that single. And I apologize for the analogies because they kind of go out there sometimes. However, when you're on the phone and you're looking for a successful phone call, be okay with a small close that you can build upon. Because so long as you have that person's information, you can call them back, then it's not done yet. Do not leave voicemails unless they're expecting a return phone call. If you're calling somebody you have not talked to in months, if you're calling a for sale by owner who does not know you exist, or expired, or whatever it might be, do not leave a voicemail. Because number one, you're going to have a much higher conversion rate if you give them a phone call. So call them back tomorrow or call them back later that night. And number two, it's going to kill your efficiency. If you only generate for 2 hours and you leave a voicemail on every phone call, that's an extra 2 minutes for every phone call. Your phone call efficiency goes down the drain.
Hey, Rick.
Take the number. Yeah.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but I would challenge you on that.
Okay.
If you are prospecting every day and you are at a point where you're efficient and you could purchase and use one of these dialing systems, if at any time a working number does not answer and it goes to voicemail, you have a pre-recorded voicemail that it will drop to them right away. And it continues to dial. So you're not spending any time leaving a voicemail. But over time, what I've realized is when I do leave the voicemail and my exact script, I'll tell you, I get more return phone calls than I do calling again the second time around if they know my number, if they see it come up a couple times. And the script that I already have pre-recorded for the voicemail is very simple. It's just, hey, this is Joey DeSane. I'm a real estate agent here in the area, and I have a couple of quick questions about your home. Please give me a call at 407 blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
And the majority of the time, I will get a call back.
Awesome. And I appreciate the challenge because, like I said, this is just what I've gathered. So 2 things I heard there was you do it when you have the auto dialer like a Mojo.
Yes.
So it actually does not hinder your efficiency.
Yep, just like you said. If you try or if you do it without a dialer and you are dialing a lot, your 3 hours of lead generation will turn into 5 hours if you're trying to lead those. So it isn't efficient. Or
your 25 contacts turn into 12 contacts.
Exactly.
And the second thing I heard you say with that voicemail was in the first 5 seconds you created curiosity. Mm-hmm. You didn't list what the questions were. You said, I have a couple questions about your home. Give me a call back. Exactly. You weren't saying, a couple of questions. How long have you been in the market for? Because if they don't want to answer, they won't. So, yeah, no, thank you for that.
Same thing with, and this is just my personal experience, and what I identified is sometimes people will put their guard up if they hear a company that you're with, if they have a bad vibe with the company just from previous experience. So that's why I don't say my name is Joey DeSane and I'm with Keller Williams Realty. I say my name is Joey DeSane and I'm a real estate agent here in the area. So I'm not lying. I'm telling them everything they need to know.
Right.
But I don't. My whole goal is not to put their guard up with the voicemail. It's to get a call back.
Cool. And an important thing you mentioned there is you do identify you're a real estate professional. It's an ethic violation if you perceive that you're not a real estate agent. So everyone out there in webinar world, don't call acting like you're a for sale by owner or you're interested prospect in buying it because you can get an ethics ding for that, possibly lose your license. So make sure you identify yourself as a professional and, of course, any marketing with your brokerage. So good stuff. Thank you, Joe.
Question now, Joey.
Yes.
Your 2 questions, do you have them preempted or is it a different 2 questions depending on what day of the week it is?
What day of the week? No, that voicemail goes out if I'm calling expireds, withdrawn listings, or for sale by owners.
Yeah. So what are your 2 questions?
Oh, when I say I have a couple questions about their home, if it's an expired, obviously the first thing is, well, what happened? Are you still interested in selling it? And then I just go into a regular phone call if they were to answer the first time before I got the voicemail.
Yeah. Okay.
So really, it sounds like you don't have really 2 questions because you have many questions, and it depends how they go. You just want them to call you back with the questions. Okay.
It's like fishing. I'm just throwing the bait in the water, getting them to call back, getting them to bite it.
Cool. All right. Logic makes you think. Emotion makes you act. Now, if you guys don't know what this means, let's talk about Joey had mentioned for an expired phone call, are you still looking to sell? Why didn't it sell the first time? And it might be, well, it's priced too high. Well, my realtor didn't communicate. I didn't have enough open houses. That's all logical. And they're going to think. And if Joey were to say, well, I do open houses this often, and I'm going to communicate with you this often, they're going to think. And they might say, Joey seems like he's going to be a better fit. Emotion's going to make you act. The way to help people close is to say, where were you going to plan to move if your house did sell? What's in Ohio? What are you leaving behind by doing that? How is it affecting your family by having 2 mortgages, by being separated, from not taking the job you wanted to do? So keep in mind when you're looking to close people, you need to have them get to an emotional state because logically they can understand it, but until they feel it, until they know that they have to move, until they know that they have to use you, you're not going to be able to make them act anything. So always drive to get that emotion at the root core of what's the reason they're doing what they're doing. Get to that emotion. I've got a question from Shannon Musgrave. Here, let's see. When they call back, how do you know which property, whether it was a FSBO or expired, and which property to show, which questions to ask? Joey, when you leave your Mojo voicemail dialer and you call 50 homes in a day, and you get a call back, how do you know which one they're talking about?
If they call back, a lot of times they'll call back right away, and I don't answer because it's in my lead generation time frame, and I always return the phone calls. So if I don't answer, a lot of times they'll actually give me the address on the voicemail. Hey, I got a call from you. You said you got a couple of questions about my house on Alfayette Trail, and I'm just returning your phone call. So that helps. But a lot of times it's not to I won't know it, and I just have to overcome it when they pick up the phone. Well, and it also validates me if I can get through to them because, unfortunately, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, I don't happen to remember the address that I called on because I actually call and prospect for my clients all day long. So could you remind me what the property address was? And then I just asked.
Okay. So you have no problem just going right for it and saying, you know what, I've called several homes, and which one were you referring to? Great.
Yeah, and it like I said, it just validates me because if I do get the appointment, they already know that I proactively prospect for my clients because that's what I was doing when I contacted them.
Awesome. That answer your question, Shannon? Okay. Yes, it does. Cool. Take them to negative future. So we've talked about this. If you guys have been in some other trainings, this is one of my favorite narratives. A negative future. So often people, you have to help people think in order to help them act. They don't realize that their expired listing that's way overpriced is doing them any harm. They think they're in a positive present. You have to take them to a negative present. You have to say, so what's it doing being away from your family or having this overpriced listing or not being in the home that really is suitable for the size of your family? Taking the negative present. Negative future says, so how long are you going to do this where you're going to be separated from your wife? How long is this going to do it for you? And you're going to take that negative place, and how's that going to impact you? And we're using feelings because emotion makes them act. And then say, so wouldn't it be great if we could get you to this home and cut down your expenses by $1,000 a month just to save you an extra XYZ? When you're talking to people, ask yourself these questions. Where are they at currently? Sometimes you might get to people who are already in a negative present. I need to get rid of this house. I can't stand it anymore, and this market is awful, and they're in a negative present. You have to take it through the path of negative future, positive future, and you're the path to get there and get that appointment. So keep in mind of where they're at and always make sure you move them through this process to the positive future. And go through so they see the negative. Don't skip 1 to 4. They have to go negative. They have to feel the pain, and they have to then feel the pleasure.
Yeah, one thing that I always say is create doubt and show hope. Give hope.
Okay, you want to give an example of that?
It goes right along with what you were just saying, going through the pain. Create that doubt, that the reasons why that last agent didn't sell the home or the reasons why it's not going to sell being a for sale by owner, and then give them hope on how you're going to do it for them. Does that make sense?
Yes, good tie down. I've got Colton logged on there. Colton, you hear me now?
Yes, I do.
Colton Lindsay.
Awesome. You've probably heard me. So Colton's our third panelist, and I didn't see him because he was signed in as an attendee, so he was sneaking there. Colton, if you could do me a favor, if you're on speakerphone or if you're into your computer, could you call in with a phone or take me off speakerphone?
I'm actually, hold on. I'm on the phone and on my app. Hold on. So I don't know what. I'm on my app here, so I don't know what's happening.
Can you mute your computer? So you're going to work on muting your. Okay, that should take care of the echo. So anytime that we jump in here, yeah, we hear you.
Perfect.
For the phone. So we're going to keep this going. So anytime you want to jump in, please feel free to do so.
Okay.
Find their motivation. You've got to, and we've talked about this, and we don't want to go over and over again. But why are they moving? What's important to them? You know, because the logical things about the market really don't matter if you don't know why they're moving, because you don't know what's going to motivate them. And motivation is going to help with the price reductions. Motivation is going to help them sign a listing agreement, whatever it's going to be. People cannot say no to their own ideas. This ties right in with asking questions to drive that conversation. Asking questions is going to give them the answer. Once they have the answer, you can go back to that, and it's their own idea. They can't say no. It's part of a trial close. So we'll see if any of the three have some examples of that. But keep that in mind. If you can have them tell you the story, then you can use that, and they can't say no to it because they already admitted to it. And then one of my favorite illustrations, which I use a lot in my relationship as well, a stair step to a successful relationship. So what does that mean? How do they see you? These are people who you're going to work with. And from the beginning, you're on the very bottom down here, and you're an annoying realtor. You're just a number. You're just a cold call. Pesky people. Anyone feel that way? Before you can go up here to a trusted guide who can help in all aspects of real estate, they have to like you. Oh, this is a nice person. Someone who cares about my livelihood. You have to show that you have value, that you know what you're talking about. You're a resource. Now you're a professional who can help me achieve my goals to get to Ohio. You're a trusted guide. if you go into, it's kind of going back to knowing what your close is. If you start right here, down the bottom left, and you knock on a door and expect to be right here, you're swinging for the fences. This talks about the process. This talks about a for sale by owner. This talks about building a relationship with a trusted vendor who's going to give you referrals. Know where you're at. And if you have a success by going from here to here, call it a success and call that person back in a week or 30 days and move on up. Now, of course, in one phone call, if you can do it all in one bang, more power to you. And these are just kind of different quotes and phrases you can remind yourself as you're going through it. And if anyone wants a copy of this, email me, and you'll have my email at the end. I'll just shoot you so you can print it out if you'd like, or if you don't like it, then the heck with you. I like it. So that's it. So now that was my little tips, and what I'm going to do.
Panelist, Rick.
Yep.
Just two things that came out of the last screen that you did that I think is really, really important for everybody to understand, and Joey can probably help me out with some numbers. Joey's scripts are fantastic, but one thing he said in that point was when he returned the call, he talked about, I prospect a lot for my clients, or I prospect all day for my clients. His language is just giving validity of what a great agent is without saying I'm a great agent. And that is so important that people put that into their language when they're speaking to people, because you can validate yourself without actually singing from the rooftops that I'm great. And that's the first thing. And the second thing is these scripts and dialogues, unless Joey's like hitting 100% every time he speaks to someone he gets the business, people have to realize that some people will not react directly to it, which is why this stepping thing that you've put there, it doesn't mean the script's wrong, it doesn't mean what you're doing wrong, but mainly if we make 100 phone calls, we don't get 100 listings. There is a strike rate there that we have to accept, and this stepping stone will probably help us realize that strike rate.
Right. Absolutely. So, and to reiterate that, Joey was able to show his value that he's a resource without saying, look, I'm a resource for you. He's going to show it through his actions. He's going to show it through I prospect daily. He's going to show it through the communication. Dave Frazier, you had a question, and I'm not sure what it meant, so I'm going to unmute you. Dave, what's up? David Frazier, you're live.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, I just couldn't hear Craig that well. I didn't know if it was audio problem. I think it was on my side.
Okay, so you're good? Just couldn't hear Craig. So he's good to go. Yep, that was user error. All right, thanks, David. All right, so we're going to move forward, and we're going to meet these panelists here. So we've heard them all talk right now. Colton, thanks for coming. I just talked to Colton about 5 hours ago, and from Utah. Tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been in business, and anything we should know about you.
My name is Colton. My website, theworldsgreatestrealtor.com, just got shut down. So now you guys have to find me at the-wgr.com. I do about 55 transactions this year. I work about 4.5 days a week, and I'm in my 7th year of real estate. That's me in a nutshell.
Awesome. Do you have a team, or are you a single agent?
It's me. I have a full-time assistant. I have a full-time buyer's agent, and then I have a part-time media director that we're still working out the kinks on that. So 55 units is about where I'm at on my own. I just barely put in, a buyer's agent, so we're not counting her right now.
Okay. Fantastic. Congratulations. A good year.
Thank you.
Joey, you want to go with your nutshell?
Yes, my name is Joey DeSane. I am here in Orlando, Florida. I've been in business for 2.5, going on 3 years now. I am a single agent. Scripps is, I moved to Orlando 2 years ago, or 2.5 years ago, right before I started in the business, and I didn't know anyone up here, so learning Scripps was my main focus so I could generate new clients and people that I've never met before. So that's kind of how I got started, making my phone calls every morning and getting into this whole script role-playing thing. Colton Lindsay, I just want to give him a thumbs up. If you guys want to go and watch his videos on YouTube, they are fantastic. I watch them all the time. I get new ideas from them. And I don't know, Colton, where could they find those? What's your YouTube name?
Just Google, I think it's World's Greatest Realtor, like WRLDS, Greatest Realtor, or just search my name, Colton Lindsay, on there.
Did I spell it correctly?
COLTONLINDSAY.
Yeah.
And if you just Google like proactive marketing calls or live for sale by owner calls, you'll see me and Derek Lipsky. There's a few others on there.
Awesome. Good stuff. And Craig?
Hi there. I'm Craig Delahoy. I have a team back in England, and I've been over here since February working with the 3 offices in Orlando, which is the Lake Nona, Oviedo, and Waterford, and just kind of like imparting a bit of business knowledge and probably learning more back than I'm gaining.
Awesome. Craig, he was. I'll make you vulnerable here. He says, Rick, I don't follow scripts. I don't know what I'm doing. Craig's been in business since 1988. He's got his scripts, whether he realizes he's got them or not. He's learned it through his 24 years of real estate. So he may not have looked at a book and read and memorized and internalized. However, through his years, he's figured out the language of sales on his own. Joey, how many transactions have you done in a year?
This year I am going on to 24.
Okay, so 24 as a single agent. And then Craig, your team overseas does 400, 500?
Well, last year they were 288. This year we should be somewhere like 350.
Awesome. So Craig is 7th level real estate, so his team's killing it over there across the lake. Okay. So talking to you guys, I know you're in different places, and I don't want to spend too much time on this. And those of you who are listening, start putting in for your questions some objections that you want to do some script role play. But talking to you 3, anyone who wants to jump up, how often do you guys script role play, whether in the mirror or with a script partner?
Joey, I shoot to script role play 5 days a week. It ends up always being about 4 days a week every morning before I make my phone calls for 30 minutes.
Okay. Do you script role play as well, Colton?
Yeah, I'm anywhere from 7 to 10 role play partners a week, about 20 to 30-minute role play calls.
And you do that daily?
Yeah, so typically it's 1 to 2 role plays a day. Usually at 7:30 in the morning I'm hitting prospecting role play, and at noon I usually will role play listing presentation with someone else, and that's on the phone. I just with agents from Canada to Louisiana to Fresno. So
you just call anybody who you've met who has the same mindset as you do and make a phone call and go back and forth and call it a day?
Yeah. So I just have it part of my schedule, and I just fill people in on my schedule, and we just call it and record the call, and that way we can listen to it all week, or you know what I mean, something like that.
Awesome. And so you record them, so you go back on it. Who do you? I've heard you guys say a little bit. Who do you prospect to most often? What's your business? Joey had mentioned he went after FSBOs and expires because he had a small sphere of influence. Who is your target audience, Colton?
It's mainly for sell-by owners. I do a little bit of expireds, but it's mainly for sell-by owners, straight cold calls, and my SOI. Those are the main 3 places I go. Okay,
so some of the role plays, if you guys go in there, then we'll go. Scale of 1 to 10, how good would you say you are at handling scripts and handling objections, and how do you improve on that?
Joey, answer that.
I would say I'm confident when I'm on the phone with my scripts. I would say I'm a 6 or a 7, but I know that if I don't know how to overcome an objection right away, I just ask another question, no matter what it is. I could shelf their objection and I just move on. So I don't ask. If we're rating it just off a script, I'd say a 6 or a 7, but to be able to control a conversation, I'd say higher up than that.
So 6 or 7 is with a script and overcome an objection. However, you feel you can overcome it by getting to the next question and taking back control of the conversation.
Yeah, and if I can't overcome that objection at that time, I just keep going, and they'll answer your next question. And then it might click with me in my head, and then I could go back to it. But if not, I'll just shelf it and keep going.
So you get back on the offense. Correct. Craig, how about you? I know that you don't, Craig, necessarily do the active real estate where you're role-playing because you've put in your time through last years. Craig, on a scale of 1 to 10, how are you at just, if someone gives you an objection or a role-play or scripting, how would you rate yourself?
Okay, just to go back to your first question, if I was still doing real estate on a daily basis, I would script every single day. No question.
Okay.
No question about it. And I would probably want to choose someone like Joey, who would be very good at that and very disciplined at that to stretch me, because I'm not good on the discipline side. So I'd need someone to role play with that was more probably dedicated at following certain scripts. And on a scale of 1 to 10, I would probably follow Joey. On a script point of view, I'm probably like a 5. but on the conversational piece of keeping the conversation going and keeping my chances going of achieving what I want to achieve and coming back to an objection, I would agree with Joey. I'm probably a 7. And can I improve? Yeah, I'm improving every day.
Yep, that's the practice. Colton, you've got a YouTube page dedicated to role-playing and scripts, so how do you rate yourself? Are you pretty much the best that you know around?
That depends on the day. Sometimes I'm like a freaking 15, and other days I'm like a 2. Honestly, it boils down to, because you can practice these scripts, but it's the energy and the emotion that you bring to the table. Because there'll be days I am on fire and I just know every word, and then other days it's like I can't say the right thing at all. So, I'd say I'm about an 8 or a 9, depending on the day.
Good. Now you mentioned energy. Do you stand up, or what do you do to keep your energy up when you role play?
It depends. Sometimes I'll sit in my seat with my feet kicked up, and sometimes I'll get up and jump around, or it just really depends. To really get my energy up, I try to listen to something huge right before I get on the phone, and maybe listen to a really good role play call from a recent role play, and then just jump right into something I can set an appointment with quick to get the energy up high, like a FISBO, or try to catch an expired home super early in the morning. Once you start off with an appointment early, it's a lot easier to get 3 or 4 more. And I've heard a lot of agents say, hey, if I get my 2 appointments for the morning, I'm done. And that's bullcrap. You should be on the phones till 11 o'clock. One day you might get 0, and the other day you might get 5. So stay on the phone every day during your prospecting time.
So you time block not for appointments. You have a certain number of hours that you're going to do it and crank it through 0 or 5.
Definitely. I'm on the phones from 8 to 11 no matter what.
3 hours a day.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And if I don't have an appointment in the afternoon, I'm back on the phones. And usually it's cold calls in the afternoon because I'm so tired of everyone else. I just moved to something easier.
Okay, and a question came through here. Just listening to you right now, on a scale of 1 to 10, where's your energy level at?
Shoot, dude, I feel like I'm like a 5 right now. I've got this congestion crap going on, and it's been a long day, so I'm like a 5 right now.
Okay, so Yeet, who asked that question, find him on YouTube. You probably find some 10-spot energies.
And just to piggyback on what Colton said, if you could set that easy appointment right away, your energy and you're just ready to rock and roll, and you already hit one of your goals by getting the appointments. Don't stop. Just keep going no matter what. Everyone puts instead of a time frame, like Colton said, they put a mark on their appointments. Okay, well, I got 2 appointments. I'm good. I did my day. No, just keep going. And then also with the watching a role play video, that's why I'll watch Colton and Derek Lipsky before I start role playing every morning, and it just gives me new ideas. Oh, wow, I could use that today. Let's go and try it. Then if I try it and it works, absolutely great. Keep going. If it fails, I laugh at myself and I keep going.
Right, and something you guys said there, you start off with the easy one, and I laugh and I applaud you because you said an easy layup like a FISBO and expired, so kudos because that's the easy layup for you. If you go through the role play, you're going to get the appointment with your role play partner, and that can set the energy and tone right off the bat because your partner will eventually, after 5 or 6 no's, give you that appointment. So start off with that first role play, your energy's up, and now you can take over the world. All right, guys, we're going to go right into some live objection handling, doing some role play where I can play as the client. Quick question came through here. Do you guys have coaches, and who do you use for coaching?
I do have a coach. I'm with MAPS Coaching. His name is Fritz Pollard. He is not script-based at all. He does not push me to work on my scripts. He more so pushes me what I do when I'm at the appointment or when I'm in front of people. So the scripts, it's just something that I know that I need to be at my best ability when I'm in front of people. So I take that upon myself to make sure that I know them.
Colton, do you have a coach?
Yes, I coach with James Hotaling. He's out of Rochester, and I don't even know what his coaching program's called. James Hotaling Coaching, we'll call it that.
Okay. Because you're not with Keller Williams, right, Colton?
No, I'm not. I was at one time, but I am no longer with them.
Keep that to yourself. I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. And then, Craig, have you been through coaching, Craig, when you were an agent?
No, I'm one of those unfortunate people that I was when I was doing it, I wasn't coached at all, which is why when I came over here to see what you guys have got on offer, it kind of blew my mind at the availability of things that you've got. So
Right.
I feel very jealous that I spent most of my career working without coaches or training.
Teaching yourself, okay. So we're going to go right into it. First one, we're going to go an objection to listing presentation. You feel like you just knocked out of the park. And I don't know who wants to go first. Colton, you can go first. And you know what? Everything you said, Colton, sounds great, and I think my wife and I would just need to sleep on it, so I'll call you tomorrow.
Okay. I can definitely appreciate that you guys want to sleep on it because it's a big decision, right?
Absolutely,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Can I share the problem with that?
Sure.
Your main goal is you want to move to South Salt Lake City, right?
That's the intention.
Yeah, and you want to get there and close by about the end of January, 1st of February, right?
Ideally, to be, yeah, sure.
Yeah, definitely. Here's the situation. That's what the real goal is. Right now, what you're doing is what's called, have you heard of analyzation, parallelization? You ever heard of that?
I haven't, but sounds like I know what it means.
So here's what this is. You guys, when I leave, you're going to sit here thinking it over, and you're going to think, what if this, what if that, and what's the first thing you're not going to do?
I'm not sure.
You're not going to sleep, and you're going to get all confused, and it's going to make it worse. You want this feeling to go away, and you want to feel confident in your decision? Is that what you really want?
Sure, yeah.
Sign the contract, put me to work, and I promise you this. You will not have an agent that will work harder than I will, and you're going to get top dollar in the next 45 to 60 days. Won't that be great?
That's what we want.
Sign here.
Awesome. And I may have been easy on you because, honestly, I didn't have any other objections. One thing, I'll kudos you for that because I was intending to be harder on you. He was asking questions the entire time, so he kept me. He was reaffirming what I said. You want to be in this space, Salt Lake City? Yes, it's my own idea. By this time frame, yes, it's my own idea. It's a big decision, isn't it? Yes, it is. Everything was my own idea. I couldn't say no to those. He was asking the questions. He was almost back me in a corner. He had me admit that I'm not going to actually sleep on it. I'm going to talk about it for 30 minutes, and it's going to stress me out for 24 hours. And everything he did, he literally backed me in a corner where I couldn't say no, otherwise I'm just grasping for straws. So,
Yeah, that was very good.
Awesome job, Dave. Do you have, Joey or Craig, another script that you could use that's, even if it doesn't compare to it, just another approach you might want to use?
The only thing I would say is, which you know from my point of view, Rick, I'm out of the touch of the day-to-day real estate, so obviously the other two guys are doing it on a daily basis. But one of my points is with regards to the way he handled that, you're quite correct. He didn't give you an opportunity to keep throwing objections, and most people do want to say they want to just go ahead. I would just be interested to know if the decision-making was about actually moving completely or whether it was just choosing him as an agent. That's the only difference. I would have probably started with the process to find out what are you thinking over. Is it deciding whether to place the property on the market or to use me as an agent?
Well, let's keep going through that. So you ask me that question, I'm going to say, well, Craig, it's just overall it's a big decision. I want to make sure that, I know I want to move, and it's just who I want to move forward with, and I need to make sure that if you're the person I choose, that it's the best decision for me.
Yeah. I mean, again, from what Carlton's done all the way through that process, is if it was a decision about Carlton, he just took you down that path. You're not going to choose anybody else because he's just dominating that conversation. I would just ask the question, if you went back to Carlton with that script and you said, well, actually, it's about whether we do want to be in Salt Lake City by February, Harry would have changed his script slightly to deal with that as an objection. Now I'm throwing it back to him, but he was very good at that.
Go ahead, Colton. What do you say? If I would have said, well, I do want to be in Salt Lake City, but, the time frame of January, February is not that important because I don't want to give my house away.
Yeah, no, I definitely understand. And just you can rest assured that I've never given a house away. And if you're going to give it away, will you give it to me, please?
Yeah, you got it.
So let's look at this logically. What's the number one reason, just so I'm clear, what's the number one reason that takes you to South Salt Lake City?
It's a job location opportunity where once I can get there, I can get the job possibility.
Okay, so it's a job location. You guys want to be down there for the job. And how important is that? And how will it make your life better by being down there?
It would save a 90-minute commute for me back and forth every day. So it would I'd be home with my family more and save some gas. But again, I've got to make sure the market's correct for me.
For sure. Definitely understand that. So 90 minutes a day of commuting What's that equal out to? About 7 hours a week. What would you do with that 7 hours if you weren't driving back and forth?
Spend more time with my wife. Sure.
Spend more
Have some
time
free
with your
time.
wife.
Do some things I enjoy. Go fishing more.
Spend that extra gas money you didn't spend on gas, you'd spend it on your wife too, right? so let's look at it like this. Can you really put a price on what you want to get? Because if it's about money, here's what we need to look at. There's not a better time than now to get it sold. We're hitting into the highest selling fourth quarter since 2006. That means more sales in our area are happening than any other time. Does that make sense to you, Rick?
Yeah, that's what you told me, yeah.
Yeah, and interest rates are at 3.25%, okay? So think about this. When we start getting into the springtime next year, what's everyone going to do when they want to sell their house?
When they want to sell, they're probably going to be ready to sell it. It sounds like a good time to sell.
And they're going to put it on the market, right? So
Sure,
I'm going to think logically for a second, because this is about money. That's what you said, correct?
Yes.
So does it make more sense to wait and put your house on the market when every other seller does in the area, or put it on the market now when the competition's low, the demand is high, and the rates are almost 0%? I mean, which makes more sense? And be honest with me.
Yeah, I'm in economics. Supply and demand makes sense to me.
Perfect. So let's do the right thing. Let's sign the contract, and let's put me to work. Fair enough?
Love it. What I love you also doing is you're validating me, Colton. You took me, you used emotion. You took me to a negative future, to a positive future. It wasn't at all about the price of the house. It wasn't how far are we, how can we make up the $20,000 difference. It was about what would the extra 7 hours a week do for your family? What would you do for your wife? What would that mean to you? And I love the close. You always use the phrase, let's do the right thing. Because it's validating that it's okay. It's one of those embedded commands in language of sales. So.
And another thing that he did that I noticed is he always went back to their motivation and what it would be like if they were in Salt Lake City and what it would be like if they weren't, creating doubt and giving hope, like what I said earlier. So good job, Colton.
One of the difficult things in that little role play was, and I would know this if it was a real appointment, I would know if they're going to be buying down there, because I would have really driven that in there if I know they're buying a house down there too. Because then I bring out that you're tripping over dollars to try and pick up pennies. You know what I mean? You might save $5,000 now, but you're going to spend an extra $70 over the life of your new loan. If you want to spend an extra $70,000, does that make sense for your financial world? I didn't think so.
Right.
Let's do the right thing. Let's get the house on the market, and let me drive an offer up for top dollar now. Any questions?
Sign here.
Sign here.
Let's get some more objections out there. There's a handful of you on here. We've only got one objection in the arsenal. I want to make sure that you guys, that one that's just really bothering you, let's maybe a prospecting one, because everyone here needs to prospect more. So, Colton, why don't you be, Joe, you call Colton on a expired listing.
Rick, can I just ask you a question?
Yeah, please.
There was did you say Dallas was on from St. Pete Beach?
Dallas Snotterly?
Yeah, he's a new agent that's been calling the sale by owners and expireds and was just interested in those scripts that are on that basis.
Okay. So Dallas, right now you are unmuted. So Joey, why don't you go ahead and call Dallas as a expired listing and see what goes through.
Okay. Ring, ring.
Hello?
Hello, Dallas?
Hi.
Hey, Dallas, this is Joey. I'm a real estate agent here in the area, and I noticed your home came off the market this morning, and I was just wondering if it is still for sale and if we had a buyer, if we could just bring them by to take a look at the home.
No, I don't know what I'm doing with it just yet.
So you are aware that it did expire?
I didn't know when exactly it was going to, but I knew it had something to do around this time period.
Gotcha. And Dallas, when this property was to sell, if it did sell that first time around, where would you guys be moving to?
The idea is to move closer to the beach, I guess.
Closer to the beach? Wow. Yeah, I wish I could get closer to the beach. What brings you out there? Is it just for the relaxation and the enjoyment, or is it a job opportunity?
No, my partner, I guess, loves the beach and loves to be as close to it as we can get.
Gotcha. And if the partner's happy, everyone's happy, right?
Yep.
Gotcha. And Dallas, if you were to just close your eyes for a second and you had a calendar in front of you and you could pinpoint that perfect date on when you would be able to move out to the beach, what would it be?
Well, the idea was to originally do it by January 1st, but since the home doesn't seem like it was able to sell, I'm thinking we're going to maybe push it back to maybe March or even the summertime if we can. We'd like to get in there by the summertime. That's the new goal.
Gotcha, but in a perfect world, it was January 1st.
Right.
Gotcha. And Dallas, what I just want to ask is, it sounds like that the home that you're currently living in is the only thing that's holding you back to getting over to the beach by January 1st. Is that correct?
Yeah, for the most part.
Gotcha. So if I can spend 20 minutes with you later today to show you exactly how me and my team get homes sold in today's market for top dollar, would that be something that you're interested in taking a look at?
Well, I'm not really quite sure what you do differently that my last agent. I mean, my last agent I liked. He did good. I don't know what he did wrong, but, you know, it just didn't sell, so I don't know what's happening there.
Well, did you get any type of weekly feedback from your agent?
I wouldn't say there was a direct point, no.
Gotcha. So really, you're not any further ahead now than when you first put your property on the market. Is that what I hear you saying?
It doesn't feel like it, no.
Gotcha. And again, I mean, you really do want to be at the beach, and you said you didn't know what I do differently, and that's exactly why I would love to meet with you today. I'll actually be in the area today around 4, or would 5 o'clock be better for me to stop by?
Well, let me ask you this. When you say you have a team, what do you mean by team?
Well, we have a lot of people that actually run the transactions for us from contract to close. And when I come over today around 4 or 5, whichever's better for you, I will show you exactly what our team looks like, exactly how many transactions we're closing, exactly the percentage from list to sale price that we're getting, and in the amount of time. And it's a lot to go over on the phone, and I would love if we could just sit down for 10, 15 minutes, go over everything. At the end of our meeting, if you choose to list with me, great, we'll get started right away to get your home sold. If not, we could shake hands and part ways at that point. How's that sound?
That's fine.
All right, so I could be there around 5 o'clock today?
Yes, that works.
Great, Dallas, and you have my cell phone number, so if anything is to change between now and then, give me a call. And I'm also going to call you around 4 to ask you a few more questions before I come over so I could prepare myself. Is that okay?
Yeah, sounds good.
Fantastic. I'll give you a call at 4, Dallas.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Awesome. Captain Motivation. I love how you threw him in there and said, the only thing preventing you from moving to the beach is this house. Is that correct? Yes. What did that do? Gave him the question, can't say no to his own ideas. Now there's no other objection on the table. Because it could have been another objection, and Joe would not have known what to overcome. Now he knows exactly what to overcome. It's out on the table. If he can overcome that, he gets this listing. So well done. We've got about 7 minutes left. I want to keep going through. So we've got a for sale by owner. Craig, would you like this one? You want to give it to Colton?
I'd give it to the boys. I don't do those here.
Colton's fantastic at it. I'll be the for sale by owner. He could be the agent.
Okay, so this is the specific objection was, number 1, I want to do it on my own, so give him that objection. Number 2, bring me a buyer, and I'll give you 3%.
Fantastic.
So go ahead, Colton.
Hello.
Are we just starting from the top or just the objection? I'm sorry.
Start from the top.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ring.
Hello.
Hi, is Joey available?
Yes, this is.
Hi, Joey. It's Colton Lindsay, world's greatest realtor. How you doing today?
World's greatest realtor, huh?
Yeah. Hey, perfect. We got the ice broken. Real quick, I saw your house was for sale by owner. Is that true?
Yes, it is. You have a buyer?
Gee, I don't know. I haven't even seen the house yet. If I do, are you willing to work with me on it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. Let me make a note of that. And how much are you asking for it, by the way?
We're actually asking $275.
$275. Hey, great price point right now. So let me ask, when you sell this house, where are you heading to next, Joey?
We are actually relocating over to South Florida.
Okay, so you guys are going to head down to South Florida, and you're asking $275. Well, let me ask, if you could get what you wanted for this home now, would you hire me to sell it today?
Yeah, if we could get 275, I mean that's our bottom line. That's why it's listed at that price.
Perfect. Well, let's do this then. Let's get together, and I'll do this for you, no problems. Let's get together for 20 minutes and just look at your options. Would today at 3 o'clock work, or I've got an opening on Thursday at 2:30 if that's better.
Well, what options are we going to look at? I mean, I know my options, and the reason why I didn't list with the realtor in the first place, if that's what you're going for, is because of the commission, and I feel like I could sell it on my own and save money,
okay.
so I could have more money in my pocket.
Okay, so just so I'm clear then, the reason why you didn't hire an agent it's because of the commissions. It's not because you hate realtors, right? It's the money?
Oh, yeah, no, I don't hate realtors at all. I just feel like there's not much that goes into a transaction, and I could just do it myself and save money.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I work with a lot of realtors. I don't know what they're doing either. So the main thing is the money. That's what I'm hearing, right?
Yeah, I mean, when you sell anything, you want to keep the most money in your pocket. Would you agree?
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I'm glad we're on the same page. So I guess the real question is, if you had a proven plan for getting your home sold for top dollar now, and actually would put more money in your pocket than the way you're doing it, you'd probably use it, right?
Yeah, I just don't see how that would happen.
Great. I don't even know how the light bulb works, and I use it every morning. Let's say 20 minutes. Would today at 4 o'clock work? Or like I said, I could do Thursday at 2:30 if that's better.
Well, I mean, are you coming over here to try and take the listing? Or are you just coming because you want to see the house and you might have a buyer?
Great question. Yes, I'm coming over there, and I do want to see if I can show you how I can put more money in your pocket. And if that works, you'll probably ask me to hire, you'll hire me and list the home. So really 3 things is going to happen, Joey. First off, I want to see the house, see what you have to offer the marketplace, okay? Second thing is, I'm going to show you everything that directly affects the value of your property and the money that goes into your pocket. That's pretty important information, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I would, and I guess I don't have nothing to lose by meeting you besides 20 minutes.
For sure. So did you want today at like 4 or Thursday at 2:30 if that's better?
Yeah, today's at 4 is fine. I get home right around 3 o'clock, so I should be there.
Perfect. So we'll say today at 4, and the address I have is 123. You just listed your home with me over the phone. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
So then I'd roll into pre-qual after that.
Good job.
Awesome. So a quick question, and if you guys are good with it, we're going to go over maybe about 5 or 10 minutes. Dallas has a role-play situation that he personally had. Dallas, you're still unmuted. Go ahead. Dallas, you there?
Actually, I muted myself again. Yeah, I muted myself again.
Okay, what's your situation?
So if someone wants to go ahead and call, but and I can tell you exactly how it went, and I want to see how someone reacts to it versus how I did. So
choose door number 1, 2, or 3. Colton, Joey, or Craig. Who do you want?
I don't
Okay.
know. Let's go with Joey. Sure.
Joey.
Yep.
You're up.
All right.
Ring, ring.
Oh, I'm calling. Ring, ring.
Hello?
Yeah, timeout. I have no idea what I'm calling about or what I'm calling for or who I'm calling.
Hey, what's the situation, Dallas?
The situation is I called a FSBO that I saw on the sign, and his was just a little bit different from a lot of the scripts that I had heard.
Okay, so this is a FSBO sign call.
All right, cool. Ring, ring.
Hello?
Hey, I'm calling about the home for sale. Is this Dallas?
Yes, it is.
Hey, Dallas, this is Joey. I'm a real estate agent here in the area, and I noticed that your home is for sale, and you're selling it yourself. Is that right?
Yes, I'm at work, so I only have 10 minutes. What can I help you with?
Great. Well, I appreciate that you're at work and you only got 10 minutes, and that's actually perfect. I don't want to keep you from your job. And the reason why I decided to give you a call is because I help a lot of for sale by owners sell their home, and I'm just calling to see how things were working out for you.
It's my father's home, and if you're calling about a listing, I really don't want to list it with an agent. If he passed away, the house kind of needs to be burnt, torn down and rebuilt. There's a lot of really expensive homes going around, and I think I can sell it really fast. So if you've got a buyer, fantastic, but if you're looking to list, I'd rather not do that.
All right, yeah, and I may have a buyer. However, I have to actually go and take a look at the property before I can say I do. And if I did have a buyer, are you willing to work with me?
Yeah, I'd be willing to pay the commission.
Gotcha. And what commission rates are you offering?
Well, I haven't really decided that yet. I don't know how much you charge, and I don't know really what the going rate is these days.
Gotcha. And just curious, do you have the seller's disclosures for the property?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay. And on the second page of the contract, on the as-is contract, because I know you said it did need a couple repairs, are you familiar with all those disclosures that are in there to protect you?
Well, all I know is that I just figured whoever would buy it would need to tear down the entire property and build it up from scratch.
Gotcha. But what I was getting at is all those items in the contract that you need to know to protect yourself, it is very important. And it doesn't sound like you know them as well as a professional like myself would. And I want to make sure that you're protected because it sounds like the money is what you're looking for, making the most money on this house, and I would hate to see you end up in a lawsuit just because you missed something. You wouldn't want that, would you?
No, it's not desired.
No, and I know you said you're at work right now, and I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I want to ask you something real quick. What type of work, or what's your career like right now? What are you doing?
I work in account managing.
Okay, and I don't know what or how I could even get started on that, but if I was to come in and tell your boss, hey, I'm ready to do Dallas's job today, do you think I could do it as good as you, if not better, without knowing really much about it?
No, probably not.
And you're probably more efficient and can make the company more money by doing the job better than I would.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, absolutely. And it sounds like you know what you're doing and you're very confident in your work as well as I am. So I would love to meet with you when you get off work today and show you exactly what we can do to help you out. And I'll actually be in the area today around 5. Would that work for me to stop by?
Well, I probably won't be home till then, but if you want my brother's home, if you want to go by and knock on the door, I'm sure he can answer and probably speak with you. We're both in this together.
Gotcha. And are you both the decision makers on this home?
Yes and no. I would say probably most part I'm handling it. I'm the one that put the number on the sign, so most questions come through me.
Gotcha. So when's a good time for us to meet? Is the weekdays or weekends better for you?
You know, if you really want to meet tonight, we can do it. I may have some time. How long would it take to meet with you?
Well, I mean, it could take 10 minutes. It could take an hour. It all depends on how long you want me to stay. You could kick me out, but I have a good feeling with everything that I'm going to show you. You're not going to kick me out in 10 minutes. We're going to go over a few things and talk a little bit more and generate a relationship so I can help you out throughout the process. So if you want to kick me out after 10 minutes, feel free to do so.
Okay. Sounds like a plan.
All right. So is 7 o'clock okay?
7 o'clock works great.
Fantastic, Dallas. I will see you tonight at 7.
Okay.
There you go. You got the appointment. Good job. And you kept in control. You brought him to pain. You brought him to using the emotion. You kind of put him in that negative future of a lawsuit, bring him to a positive future of that. So
yeah,
you're getting a silent applause.
With that one, I was all over the place. And honestly, I would rate myself a 4 or a 5. But I never stopped. I just kept asking questions, and I got through it.
Yeah.
Because
you probably could have closed a couple times there, and you kept asking different questions, yet, like you said, you kept control of the conversation.
So one of the things that I see startup piping, guys, is, and this depends on your state, I would have asked right away, hey, have you guys gone through probate, or is this an estate sale? I mean, do you guys have a trust on this? Because, I mean, if they haven't even gone through probate, it wouldn't even be worth anyone's time. You know what I mean? At least if it's like probate here.
Right. Probate does take a while here.
Yeah, one of the things I would have done right off the bat, too, just so you know, one of his quick things is he was okay to pay commission. He said, I think I can sell it real quick on my own. So his hot button was he wanted it sold quick. So me personally, I would have said, hey, if you could get this sold for top dollar in the next 30 days, would that cause a problem for you? He's going to say, no, okay, great. Well, let's get together at 3 o'clock today and just look and see if we can make that happen. I would have closed really quick on that. And then a third comment, man, we as agents should have freaking investors in our back pocket for when those properties pop up to just be taking them over there and selling that before it even is listed. So that's my 2 cents for that whole thing. Sorry, guys.
No, that's great. And I think the other close that you could have done was, and I believe this line came from you as well, Colton, if I can bring you a buyer, would you be willing to work with me? Yes. Great. I'll be over at 7 o'clock to see if I got a buyer for you. And just go for the close right there.
Gotcha.
Instead of continuing to sell, you had the close and you could have just gone for it. So he said yes. Great. Let's get started in. And then you can worry about getting the listing when you're in front of his house, because you're closed to get in front of him and get the appointment. All right, we're going to keep moving forward. Go ahead.
Can I say something real quick? Personally, I don't use that at all. I mean, I never let them think that I might have a buyer unless I really do. I wouldn't use that close. I don't want them to think that I'm coming over to preview it. I want to go over there thinking that I'm coming over to list it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually used to do that, and just through role playing and coaching with other agents, I would never do that. It's like setting an appointment without pre-qualifying and going on it. It's a waste of time.
Okay. So I didn't clarify because maybe I misheard. When you did it, Colton, you had mentioned with the moving to, I forget who you role played with, I think with Joey. You said if I have a buyer for you, would you be willing to work with me? Is that what you said, or was it more of if I can get you the house for the price you wanted?
I don't remember what I said now, to be honest.
I think it was the way my objection was, well, do you have a buyer? And he said, well, I don't know. I haven't even seen the property yet.
Okay.
This is what I said. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen the property yet, but if I did, are you willing to work with me?
Uh-huh.
Okay, great.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of one of those things that's early on in the prospecting call, and you're just kind of shelving that because that's what you really do that's just a stall. You're just getting by that.
Okay.
When you listen to both these guys talk, whether you think Joey did a great job or a poor job, whatever, but they're always validating that the person is willing to work with an agent. That's what's coming through with their scripts. They're always saying, you're willing to work with me. If I had that, you're willing to work. If I could do that, you're willing to work with me. Everything they say is just validating that person has got no objection about working with a real estate agent. It's just about the commission and the net dollar.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely validated. And final question, I promise, guys. When they say that, and they say, I'll give you 3%, bring me a buyer, I'll give you 3%, do you have just a quick close for that, a quick overcome objection? That's common.
It's just like what Colton said. No, because we're not going into with a buyer in hand. We're shelving that objection, and then we're moving on to get the listing.
So give me that line to the shelf. Yeah, you know what, Joey, I'm busy at work. Bring me a buyer. I'll be happy to pay you 3%.
Great. It sounds like you're willing to work with us, and we could make numbers work on the net, and then I would go into whatever the script is, whatever the house is, wherever you're moving.
You went to
that. That's a question there, Rick. Joey, would you ever refer to the fact, is the 3% the important factor or the net price that comes back to you at the end of the closing?
Yeah, that's where the script leads to.
Let me speak up. It depends on when that objection comes out. If it's like early on like Joey did when I went with him, you're shelving it. If it's into the conversation, you're going to bring attention to that. So what I hear is you're willing to pay a real estate agent 3% if they have a buyer, right? And so I guess what you're saying is if there was an agent that could actually show you how they could actually more than make up for the other percentage it would cost to hire him, you'd probably hire that agent, wouldn't you? Well, yeah, we'd be an idiot not to. Okay, great. Well, I'll see you at 4 o'clock, or is 6 better for you? So it's important to identify when that objection comes. If it's at the first, you shelf it. If it's later on, you're going to try and bring it up to the net dollar.
Awesome. Okay, and we're gonna keeping these guys overtime as it is. So just keep in mind in the next couple of weeks we've got time management and how to kind of get your priorities and goes into when you can generate from 8 to 11 like Colton and Joey do. Wealth building, social media, some blogging in January. What else, people out there in the internet world, do you want to see that I can help muster up for everyone for some future webinars? So give me some names. I'm going to add it to it. So what's some other topics we want? Anything out there?
Not to just keep talking, but I feel like to piggyback on what we just did, you should do a follow-up, or after you make first contact and you don't get that appointment, what we do after that to get the appointment.
Okay.
Follow up on your initial leads.
So that's the follow-up prospecting?
Yeah, I mean, that's just as important as prospecting. All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cost-effective marketing is something that's been thrown out there. Okay. Anything else, please just shoot me an email, and we're going to keep going through this. About me, let's talk about Panelist. Colton, what was some of the information where they can find you at again?
My website is www.the-wgr.com. You can find me on my Facebook page. It's facebook.com/thewgr. Twitter, it's @thewgr. Or I'm on YouTube. You can find me, just Google my name, Colton Lindsay, or the world's greatest realtor. You'll find me somewhere.
Okay. So WGR is pretty much your tagline, your hash line.
Yeah. Well,
Joey?
starting the last 2 weeks it is, yes.
Okay. Joey, how do they find you?
Same thing. Facebook, Google my name. If they have questions and want to email me directly, my email is joey@DeSaneRealty.com.
Okay. Mr. Craig, anything where they can find you?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Craig at OrlandoAdvantage.com. And you can search me on Facebook, but I don't have a personal web page.
Okay, very good. And if you guys want to find me and also record all of these webinars, so this is the 6th one if you want to look at what they've done in the past, find me on my YouTube. Also, they've got the blogs, Facebook, Twitter account, and this is the website page for the Keller Williams site. Next week, if you're going to join us, please come back and please bring a guest. This is going to be more beneficial the more people we have. So if you have anything to add, please get a hold of me there. Colton, Joey.
Good job to Colton. I mean, you did fantastic. You're the man.
Thanks, guys.
All you guys are. Yeah, we'll see you.
Say bye. See you guys.
Appreciate it. See ya. All right, we'll see everyone next week, next Tuesday, talking about time management. Enjoy your week. Talk to you soon.
See ya.